This is Festool's cordless track saw combo. This is actually my first Festool tool that I've owned, and Festool are a German brand that really excel for high quality tools. This is the type of tools you won't use for everyday purposes, but you use it for a lot of your neater trims, indoor work. You can buy this kit for $13.89 AUD. For $13.89 you can get this kit you see here, which is everything in this video excluding the track. For the track, you need this kit, which comes at a cost of $15.25 AUD. What it includes is, firstly, you got your plunge saw, which is a dual battery operated. We've got two 18 volt 5.2 amp batteries, and as we can see, they both come with their own chargers as well. Now, Festool claim that these batteries are far more superior than any of the other battery tools out there. And it sure is true in the terms of power you get out of the saw. This saw blade can go 2 times quicker than traditional saws, and you do have a gauge on the side to limit how quick you want that blade to spin. Talking about duration for these batteries as well, I could be using this for the entire day cutting and not having to change the battery. When I'm doing odd jobs with the saw, I can actually use it for weeks on end without having to worry about charging them. When I do need to charge them though, we can do it super quickly with these 2 chargers, charging both batteries at the same time, and it takes about 40 to 70 minutes to completely charge them up. We also have a dust bag, which I have attached to the saw right now. We've obviously got ourselves a track which comes with the saw as well. That's 1400 long, and you can buy an additional track and connectors separately to extend it to 2.8 meters. I reckon this is a great size because it's easy to handle, easy to put back in the truck in the work ute at the end of the day. You do have a lot of jobs, so most jobs, if I'm being honest, where I need to do one cut, take the saw off, move the track up, and do another cut after that. With that being said, with the precision of this saw with its 1mm thick blade, it is easy to line those up perfectly. And obviously we also get this box to store everything super neatly. It all is very compacted inside. And one thing that my apprentice wanted to bring special notice to is it's got 2 pictures on how to actually store everything, which way the saws go, where the batteries go, and he loves that. It makes his job so much easier knowing how to put everything away the right way. Alright, I want to jump straight into some of my favourite features about the saw. The first one that I've briefly covered is we can control the speed of the saw. We've got up to 6 settings here which we can flick through to make it go faster or slower depending on what you're cutting. Another problem that they've eliminated with this saw is they've reduced kickbacks on it. So Festool have added a kickback stop in this saw. You can see that pop up here as I plunge my saw down. We've also got a real-time indicator here, and it shows us a green light if the kickback stop is activated, and it goes orange if it is unactivated. And that will happen when you're cutting, but you lift your saw up so that kickback stop isn't pressed down on the surface. Now obviously the most important thing with that is you don't want your saw to kick back and cut you and cause an injury. That's luckily never happened to me or anyone I know, but I've had countless experiences with other branded saws where I'm cutting along the track and it kicks back, and what the saw does, it jumps off the track a little bit on an angle and it damages your work. With such a precise branded tool and such a precise saw, you want to limit anything that could happen to damage your workpiece. We have a very easy to use depth guide on the front here. You can just activate that by pushing in and pulling it up and down. You can very easily change it and see exactly how many millimeters you are allowing the saw to plunge down. The one thing I don't like about this is that measurement is how far the blade's plunging from the base plate of your saw. Which means if you've got it on your track, which you always will have it on, that is going to reduce the depth it's plunging by the thickness of the track, which is a few millimeters. So you want to be able to add that to whatever you want to plunge into your work. We've got a dial on either end which we can twist to be able to cut any of our angles. It starts on a perfect 0 degrees, but in pushing this button at the back, we can offset it to a -1 degree. And we push it all the way down to 45 degrees where it's going to stop naturally. But we can once again press that button to go down to 46 and 47 degrees. I personally love cutting my miters on a 46 or 47. Today I was doing some floorboards and I love cutting them an extra degree steeper, so your face of the miters are always going to touch and you've got a little bit of room for error in case that board's not going on a perfect 90-degree angle. It's a very well balanced saw and it's easy to slide back and forth. Obviously the weight of 4.6 kilograms isn't too much of a factor because you will have this saw seated down on a workbench. Your 2 batteries are also 0.7 kilograms each, making the saw around 6 kilograms. As you can see, the saw slides so easily across the track. We can tighten how tight the saw is against the track with 2 of these wheels at the front and the back. In doing that, obviously the saw is pretty tight on the track now, but I can almost pick the saw up, and as you can see, the track will come up with it. That's how much of a good connection that provides. The back of the track has 2 rubber grips, and these are excellent at gripping against the work surface. You can still move it with ease, but as soon as you have a little bit of downward force pushing against your saw, but I haven't had any incidents where my track has slipped, causing me to ruin my workpiece. And this blade can cut at a maximum depth of 55 millimeters. Keep in mind, it's going to be about 52 or 53 once you have it on this track. It's also very easy to change this blade. Our box also has step-by-step photos on the top on how to change the blade. If you want a video on that, I can make a separate video on how to change a blade as well. We do have a little switch here as well that you got to press up before you turn the saw on. Obviously you don't want to accidentally hit that trigger and get the blade spinning when you don't want it to happen. We've got a little safety trigger here that you need to press to firstly plunge your saw, and secondly you need to hold that to be able to turn on the saw blade. To set the depth that you want by pulling this up and down, you can pull up that little lever, and that lets you free plunge the saw to set it at what depth you want. While you've got this up though, you can't turn the saw on and cut. In terms of dust extraction, this bag does catch a lot of it. I did use it on the first day without the bag attached, and the difference it makes is phenomenal. This bag folds up quite flat so it fits in your case as well. And another tool Festool do perfectly are the vacuums, which gets attached to the exact same port that I just had that bag on. I don't have any of the vacuums yet, but that's something I really want to add to my tool collection. Since the blade's so small with 1 millimeter of thickness, there's less resistance as you drop it through the timber. So you got less resistance, this blade can spin 2 times as fast, and that gives for such a smooth, easy cut. You just glide through your timber, and half the time it doesn't even feel like you're cutting anything. Now, Festool customer service has been great. I haven't had any direct contact with anyone when I purchased it, but since then I've had an email from my local rep asking if there's any other tools I want to try out, if I got any questions with this track saw, and I've also got a 36-month comprehensive warranty on this saw. This saw is awesome. It is very superb for doing a lot of my finished quality carpentry. At the moment it's my only track saw, so I have been using it for decks, fences, and a bit more outdoors work that I do not want this saw to be used on. Obviously with such a precise saw, I don't want to be banging around outside, getting it wet, damaging it to lose its precision. These batteries also have a Bluetooth function, and what that Bluetooth function pairs with is a vacuum if you have one. What that means, instead of having a vacuum connected and having it running all the time, as soon as I turn my saw on and the batteries are emitting power, that vacuum kicks on straight away as well, meaning I don't have a noisy vacuum and I'm not wasting battery power when I'm not using my saw as well. If there's anything I've missed about this tool that you do want to know about, please leave a comment down below, and hit subscribe if you want to see more tool reviews or carpentry related content.